Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the videos.
Good evening and welcome to Toppers Tantra interview series presented by Ganesh I.A.S Academy. Today, we are thrilled to launch a special segment that is Toppers Tantra interview series, where we bring you closer to the incredible journeys of those who have successfully cleared the UPSC exam and achieved their dreams of serving the nation. And these interviews aim to provide inspiration and practical advice to all aspirants who are striving for success in civil services examination. To kick off our interview series, we have with us Dr. Sivasakthivel I.A.S, who has cleared the 2023 UPSC Civil Services exam. Sir, thank you so much for joining us today and congratulations on your incredible achievement. And we are excited to learn more about your journey.
Thank you so much for your introduction, and it's my pleasure to join you.
Sir, to start off, what inspired you to pursue a career in civil services?
For me, the dream has been for quite a long time. Like as a child, I was very much interested in the subjects like social studies. I was interested more in history, geography. At that time, my father gave me a small hint that I can try civil services. When it came to choosing a career at around 12th standard, I had two options in mind. Either I should go in, either I should try to get a seat in medicine, or I should, if that didn't happen, I thought I will have civil services as plan B. And fortunately, I got into medical field. But there I had this realization. If rather than just being a doctor, if that doctor enters into civil services, they will be of more utilization to the society. So that's when I decided to embark on this journey.
That's interesting, sir. And it's truly inspiring too. And structuring the study plan is actually crucial for any competitive exam. We all know that. So how did you structure your long-term as well as short-term study plans?
When it comes to structuring, initially I had a long term. So before that, I wanted to give a small introduction about the journey that I had thus far. So
Sure.
I started my preparation in the year 2017, immediately after my internship at Madras Medical College. So 1 year of foundation training I did. And after that, I gave my first attempt in 2018. There I went till interview. And 2019, immediately after interview, I had to give that prelims as I didn't clear 2018. So that also I went till interview. Then again, 2020, actually, I did not clear the prelims. So again, in 2021, I gave the whole, since I was, I was not occupied the whole year. So for me, 2018 and 2021 were very vital attempts. Like I had very good amount of time to prepare for the prelims. And all the other attempts, I was like just at times in 2022 and 23, what happened was after my final results in prelims came in just a week's time. So I have seen all kinds of, the challenges while preparing. So when it comes to answering your question, whether it is like the long-term and short-term plans, I would say initially for anyone who's preparing for the first time or who has good amount of time before their attempt, I would suggest that they first have to be very clear about their long-term plans. Based upon their optionals, they have to make it. For example, my optional is medical science. I did not much prepare for it because it is something more on the basis of my university pattern only. So I only made notes for optional. I did not join any test series or I didn't very much prepare for it. So whenever I got good amount of time, I focused on GS as well as on prelims, the general study for mains as well as for prelims. So that was my focus. So whenever there is prelims approaching, I'll mostly concentrate on prelims. Like if the prelims is in June, then I will start focusing from March. Up to that, I'll be focusing only on mains. And so this will be my long-term strategy. When it comes to short-term strategy, it depends upon the ability of the candidate. For example, some can actually, sit with one particular subject for a long time. But I do not belong to that category. I would like to, mix and match with different subjects. So on a particular day, I'll parallelly handle two subjects. If I read polity, then I need something interesting like geography or history to happen side by side. For me, the dry subjects like polity, economy, science, and tech will happen in one day. Parallelly, I will try to mix it with other interesting subjects of me. So it depends upon the students who are preparing there. So Additionally, I would say, they have to very much concentrate on their mental health also. Like every day, they have to, they have to have some good amount of break also in between. That is something that would be my plans, okay, for both short term as well as long.
Okay, sir. So, sir, in UPSC preparation, I mean, retaining vast amounts of information can be challenging for aspirants. So, what kind of reading techniques helped you retain information better?
This is a very good question. Actually, every time, people actually, try to make some kind of mistakes there. But it again varies from different persons. For example, I have issues in memory. For example, like in medicine also, I observe that I have this what the right word would be. The subjects are a little volatile in medicine. I tend to forget them easily sooner. So the same happened with UPSC also, particularly the clauses in polity or the names in modern India or history, art and culture and all. So for prelims, what I did was to prepare notes on theme-based themes. For example, I had a separate note for Persian terms. Generally, UPSC is very well known for asking these weird terms and ask the meaning. They'll give four options and they will ask what is the meaning of this particular term. So I prepared a separate note for the Persian terms, for Hindi terms. For example, people from Tamil Nadu, especially, and South India in general, they don't or they're not very much acquainted with the Hindi terms. So that kind of notes I made. So the strategy behind this is reason memory. You first make all these notes and revise these multiple times, and from that you will actually segregate those notes that are really very challenging. What I generally do is before prelims, some 3 to 4 days before prelims, I will keep my days very free. I'll not be occupied at all. On those last 4 days, I'll only be focusing on those tough notes which I want multiple revision. So this actually helped me on the day of prelims. I would say I that this technique of intuition will come into play. For example, suddenly if you come across, for example, in 2018 there was one question to which painting school is this word Bani Tani associated with. I was actually able to recollect that it belongs to this Kishangarh school of painting, but that because of the notes that I had taken earlier. So I think this these short notes, theme-based notes, and repeated revision towards the exam will help you in the recent memory process. So in that way, you'll be able to clear prelims. For mains, I'll suggest just one technique to make two types of notes. One is the long notes that we generally make, everyone generally make. And short notes, for example, you can buy a small notepad like this, a very small notepad like this. And what we have to do is, for one page, we can allocate one theme. Uh, for example, give me a topic. Maybe we can take this delimitation. What we can note in that one particular page is we can write all the related data related to delimitation, the clause, the articles of the Constitution, the judgments, various judgments, and the various important phrases said by the leaders. All those things can be written in one particular page. So this is called short notes, I would say. And these notes should be revised in the month of September towards the exam. And even before the day before exam, I used to revise only those topics which are very much important for that particular exam. So through this, candidates will, they can avoid, this problem of forgetting things, and they'll be able to score better.
So that's very insightful, sir. So we also know that staying updated with current affairs is essential for UPSC exam. So how did you manage to stay updated with current affairs? And also, what are all the current affairs sources that you referred to?
So as I said earlier, my prelims for 2018 and 2021 were the perfect prelims. Otherwise, I just, went on the previous year's hard work and a factor of luck also, if I must honestly confess. So coming to the source of current affairs, just you must actually stick to one particular magazine, and I preferred actually Vision IAS PT 365 for prelims information. In addition to it, I always, I prefer making notes for prelims online, like Evernote or OneNote, so that every year I'll be updating those notes, and that always acted as my own vast pool of information, and I only refer to those information. So this is my prelim source. In addition to it, I will just say one thing. Please be active on one social media, and I would recommend Twitter because at times even Twitter has always helped. For example, following IFS officers will come handy for environment-based questions. Also, I'm quite interested in geography. I follow certain IR handles also, international relations related handles. And UPSC also has this habit of asking the famous wars or the famous regions that are in news. So even that helped me. So I think apart from the traditional sources, candidates should try to be active on Twitter. That will definitely help them.
That's nice, sir. So the next question is about your strategy for preliminary examination. So what was your approach to minimize negative marking in prelims? And also, how did you handle those questions which you are completely unsure about?
Okay. Um, so I will just tell a caveat here. I have cleared 5 out of 6 prelims. One prelims also I missed very in a narrow margin only. But still, every day before the prelim exam, I also had that the kind of anxiety and all the nervousness. So telling this, I would say the kind of strategy is the simple one, the 4-3-2-1 rule. So whenever you're sure about all the 4 options, just mark it, and that should be sure short question. Then I'll come to those questions which have 3 options that I know, then 2, and then finally to only 1 option. And there are also certain questions where you will not have an idea at all. But even there, no, I would then suggest this intuition process, wherein we would have somewhere read about that, but we wouldn't be sure of it. So candidates must also be ready to take that amount of risk there in prelims examination. I always believe only one thing. See, prelims is like a do or die moment. If we are able to sail through, then we will get a mains hall ticket. And if we fail to sail through, then we'll have to sit for one another year. So I always took that risk there. So even if I didn't know some question, if it is completely alien to me, then I always avoid it. But if I have even a small iota, like small idea on that question, then I always prefer taking that risk. So that is one strategy. One is the 4-3-2-1 rule, and the other one is this taking that risk. That is very important.
Fine, sir. So can you also share some tips on effective answer writing for mains examination?
Yes. So for mains examination, as I told earlier, one is the long and the lengthier note, and the other one the short note. In the short note, they can have all those USPs. For example, candidates must always remember that in answer writing, presentation is very important. Because the examiner is going to scrutinize a lot number of answer copies, so we have to make their work very much easier. So I would like to just do one thing. So I'm not very sure if you'll be able to see that on the screen. uh, this is something that I followed in this mains. So just imagine if this is the answer sheet. I have
Okay.
drawn a line here, right?
Okay.
So this line, across this line, I used to write whatever the value additions, like the facts or examples, separately,
Okay.
so that it makes the work of the examiner very much easier. So this improves,
Nice.
even if you don't have a very good handwriting, this kind of presentation will actually make your paper interesting to read. That is one
Okay.
thing. And second thing is, yeah, having all their USPs separately on a particular note so that you keep, see, generally candidates prepare all those points, they collect data and they run behind the data. But when it comes to actual implementation, they fail there. So what they can do is they can limit their data collection or example collection till August. And by the 20th of August, they must start to revise them and they must start to implement them in the answer writing part. So they will write good answers, but those answers needs to be enriched, and that has to come with practice only. So even in their test series, they must start doing.
Fine, sir. So next, let us talk about your hobbies. So generally, preparing for UPSC exam is known to be one of the most rigorous and demanding process. And balancing such an intense preparation process with personal well-being is also crucial. So can you share what are all the activities you engaged in to relax and recharge yourselves during preparation?
So my usually I used to kill my time or boredom through Twitter only, because Twitter was not only a place to relax, but also I got some intellectual, development there. One is that, and second is I used to watch or read, no, watch movies or read books related to international relation topics. So that is something one thing. And the third is I like to eat a lot, so I explore new cuisines and all. So these are the three to four hobbies that I pursue during my UPSC preparation.
Okay, sir. So how did you decide on which hobbies to mention in your draft?
So when it comes to hobbies, I honestly decided that I should only put those hobbies which I really do. For example, in my first attempt, I was under the impression that I must give something. I should not leave any of the columns blank. For example, I'm not someone who is very much interested in sports. So I have played chess, but not that kind of I did not play it very well, or I did not do it in the recent times. And in the first attempt, till interview I reached, and I always had this fear in my mind. What if they ask a deeper question from chess, which I did not know? And that actually did affect my interview preparation. Though my performance was good there on the board, but my preparation was, I always had that anxiety. So the next from in my first interview, I made that mistake. So in all the other four interviews, I decided that I should never give chess as, and I always left the sports column blank. So candidates must be honest there, because it's not only about showing yourself, it is also about being truthful and being in a comfortable position. You should not put yourself in a trouble. That is one thing. Second is, yeah, when it comes to putting the honest ones, like we'll have multiple hobbies, but not everything can be put on the DAP. For example, I use Twitter a lot, but I didn't want to enter into that thing, because then I generally watched about the political commentaries. So that would land me in trouble. So I didn't put Twitter. So select one that is least controversial, where more questions could be asked. For example, I framed my hobby in a different way. I put it very bluntly as learning about countries. I told no, I like to read about different countries. So I just wrote bluntly as learning about countries. So in all the three interviews, in the last three interviews, they were curious and they asked like, "What is this hobby?" Just explain. And they gave me, I would say, a kind of open field, just to choose one country of your choice and talk whatever you want to or tell about that country. So there I got some opportunities to showcase either my interest, field of interest, or my personality there. So I think candidates should be truthful enough not to put something that they don't do. And they should also ensure that those hobbies are very much comfortable and bring out their personality also.
That's very interesting, sir. Sir, UPSC interview is often described as a unique experience which tests not only our knowledge but also our personality and presence of mind. So, can you share some memorable moments from your UPSC interview?
Memorable moments. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I would share this one. So in my first interview, I had my, we'll all have that kind of anxiety, because for me, that's my first attempt. And I went till interview, and I was not very well prepared. And my interview was on the third day. I was not well prepared, and I had that anxiety also. And uh, and when I entered the board, I heard that the chairman, the board chairman is an ex-IPS officer. He's now retired. He's Mr. Bhimsen Basi, sir. Uh, with a lot of fear, I actually entered the room. But then suddenly, after looking at my face, he told this in Tamil. Varangal, Varangal, Utkarangal. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I never expected that, because the kind of prejudice that we have and harbor against those board members, and he was like very kind enough to speak in Tamil, and his Tamil like accent was also very good. Then he asked me did I speak the right Tamil word to you? Then I told, yes, sir, you spoke right, but you can even use this word. உட்காருங்கள் is like ரொம்ப மரியாதை கொடுக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்கு. உட்காருப்பான்னு சொல்லுங்களேன், like that I told. Then he told, no, no, you may become a bureaucrat, so I let me respect you like that. And I actually laughed there, and it was a very light moment. So I really enjoyed that. That's a memorable thing.
That's fascinating, sir. So, what was the most unexpected question that you faced in interview?
Uh, Unexpected. I don't think I had any. It was mostly on the expected lines only.
Okay.
But there was actually one question. I would say it is actually a trick also. Initially, they give you a question, but later they try to change the scope of the question, and they will check whether you are very attentive or not. I did not, pass the test. For in my fourth interview, they asked one question like, third interview, they asked me like, what is corruption? Define corruption. Started answering, and suddenly the person interrupted and told, "Stop explaining and just explain this to a 5-year-old kid." That is what his question is. But I was actually preparing my mind for the definition of corruption, so I did not properly grasp his question also, and I just gave another simpler form of corruption's definition. Then immediately he answered whether this answer would be understood by that kid or not. So I understood that that was a trap, and like I didn't properly perform that question. So this was something unexpected. I didn't expect them to interrupt an answer and change the score. That's it.
Fine, sir. So, sir, generally UPSC preparation is filled with external pressures. We all know that. So, how did you manage the social pressure and expectations from family and also from friends during your preparation?
Okay. Actually, I was actually very fortunate, I should say. Like my friends, my family, especially my father and sister, they were very supportive. My mother was not at all supportive because she didn't want me to enter the civil service field. She wanted me to be a doctor. So that was something. But then still, at least if one of the family member is supporting, na, then everyone will ultimately fall in. Then other thing, my friends are the pillar of support. Like I have many friends to mention. Some of my close friends, then UPSC seniors and juniors also, they were always with me. I should say even my neighbors were very supportive. There were many neighbors who would come for every exam and actually wish me. Like before every prelims, I did this cycle for 6 years, and there was one uncle who actually came to my home and wished before every interview and every mains, and he was always eager to know my results. So like that, I had a very positive environment actually. But when it comes to, yeah, everyone will face that some kind of peer pressure or the societal pressure. I would say if your passion is something very true, and if you know that you will definitely accomplish that at some point in time, either through UPSC or in some other way, in larger life of also we will have multiple opportunities to serve the society, the nation. So if one is more confident about themselves, then I think we can just ignore them. You have to, kind of build a protective shield around yourself and prevent this negativities from entering. And for that, you have to have more positive connections. That would be my take.
That's wonderful, sir. Sir, so how did you handle your setbacks and failures during your preparation process all the 6 years?
Uh, Setbacks, yeah. Initially, first two attempts, I did not feel that as setback because I went an interview. So I was telling myself that I was very close to the cusp of victory. Let it be. That's all. I didn't care much about it. But when I couldn't clear my third attempt, I that was the lowest point in my preparation. Uh, but then I took it on a positive note only. In the sense, I thought I'm going till interview stage, and in interview also I'm getting some average marks, but because my mains marks are too less, like I'm just above the cutoff, and I'm not having good buffer score to make it to the final list. So I decided that God has given me an opportunity to actually prepare and focus mainly well on mains. And even that happened. For example, in 2022, after my prelims, disaster, I actually joined Shankar Academy for evaluation, and I got introduction with Asif Anwar sir of Delhi. They are part of Shankar's main stream. There, actually, I learned because in Tamil Nadu, the kind of answer writing was different in 2019. But the Delhi students wrote it in a very different way, and that is the benchmark that we must try to attain. So I really learned the art of answer writing by scrutinizing the other papers, other answer sheets of the candidates. So that's how I actually grew. So even if you fail at some point, you can always take that in a positive way. That is one thing. But having said that, I also had other low points, not with respect to this UPSC journey, but since the journey was very long, no, even some other negative happenings in our life will always push you to a very, to a very low place. So that will always be there. But maybe with good friends and with good support system, we can bounce back.
Awesome, sir. So your resilience is actually commendable, sir. So finally, what piece of advice would you give to those who are currently preparing for UPSC?
Uh, I would say that uh, please do not prepare for anyone else. Like there are people who, yeah, because of family compulsion, also they do try to join. But please don't just ensure that will you uh, prefer, even if you're not someone, if you don't have the characteristics. For example, I had uh, some doubts on myself whether will I fit into the civil service or not. But that training will take care. Don't worry about it. If you think that you have a very good passion and you have that if you believe that you have that capability, then definitely you must start. And just having the goal alone is not something important. You will have to put in a lot of hard work. Some kind of sacrifices will always be there. If you are able to do these two, then there is a factor of luck. That is definitely not in our hand, but we may be in a position to keep trying till that. So you must also have that perseverance. So to be perseverant enough, I think you should also have a good amount of financial backup. So if you feel confident, have some job and side by side prepare UPSC, or take a break and make some money and then again come back. So that is what I would say. And if after all this, even if you fail, I will say that there are multiple opportunities, and definitely since you have become civilized better than other, so like the kind of exposure that we have in this path, so you can always have multiple other opportunities. Other opportunities will come across your way. You can grab that and you can settle. So just take this only as an exam, not as your life struggle or a life goal and all. It is always easy to say after clearing this exam, because I have always watched toppers say this. But that is what now I feel. So I just wanted to share that. That is it. That
That's
is it from me.
incredible, sir. So thank you so much for sharing your journey and insights with us today. Your experience and advices were really awesome, and I'm pretty much sure that our current aspirants will greatly benefit from it. So we from Ganesh I.A.S Academy wish you all the very best in all your future endeavors, sir.
Actually, thank you, Ganesh Academy, for giving me this platform to interact with, share my views. Thank you so much, and thank you, host, for being a wonderful host.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.